Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is BIT.TRIP Runner 2, aka BIT.TRIP presents Runner 2, Future Legend of Rhythm Alien, which I refuse to say. You're just trying to be wacky and zany now. Quit it. Enough of that. Thank you very much. So what is it? It is the sequel to BIT.TRIP Runner, which is part of the BIT.TRIP saga, which includes BIT.TRIP Beat, BIT.TRIP Runner, and BIT.TRIP Void. Having played all of those games, I could safely say I don't really like the BIT.TRIP saga, mostly because BIT.TRIP Void and BIT.TRIP Beat to me were not remotely entertaining. I just didn't get it. It was retro to the point of nausea, as far as I could tell. And it seemed to be sort of rhythm-based, but I never got the appeal. Runner, though, I did like. Runner was like, alright, you're gonna run along, and there's gonna be music, and the music's gonna get better the more of these things you collect, and it's pretty colorful, and that was a bit of fun. It was a good time. So when they said we're gonna bring out Runner 2, I thought, I might actually, for once, really get into the BIT.TRIP games. So I guess this is the opportunity to do just that. You'll notice that, as you can see, the menus are quite something. They did do a number on the art style this time around. Very much so. There you go, as you can see. Now, who makes it? Goes by the name of Gaijin Entertainment. And they have created this game and released it on Steam. BIT.TRIP games are available on a number of different platforms. There's even a BIT.TRIP saga for 3DS, actually, which I believe has Runner and Beat, if I recall correctly. So let's give it a bash and see what's going on with it. I'm going to use the controller for this. The reason is I kind of want to. I have played it with the keyboard, played the first few levels with it. It does recommend that you use a 360 pad. Keyboard is fine initially. I don't know if it continues to be fine, because as you will see, there's a bunch of different functions beyond just jumping that the game seems to introduce you to as you go along. So it says playing with a controller is highly recommended. However, the game does allow you to simply run without pushing any buttons, so you can use WAS and D for a lot of these abilities and a bunch of other different stuff. So there are a number of different options, but it doesn't have the ability to rebind the keys, which is going to be a bit of a downer for some people. As you can see, it seems like there's about 3 different key combinations that do work with this game. Settings-wise, you can mess around with it. Not a huge amount, but enough, mostly because this time around they actually do have, well, graphics, which is less than what I could say for the other ones. It's like, what? Really? Yeah, a BIT.TRIP game with graphics. Who frickin' thought about it? Well, let's give it a shot. I'm gonna go from the first couple of levels in. This is the Welkin Wonderland, or as the announcer will say,
the Welkin Wonderland.
There are a lot of very cool cutscenes when you go into each world and things like that, and I would strongly recommend that you do check them out and you don't skip them. Now, characters-wise, there are a bunch of unlockable characters. Currently, at the start, there's Commander Video and Commander Girl Video, and then there are a bunch of costumes for each character. That could be a zucchini. I don't know. Funnily enough, in the intro, it actually showed Meat Boy from Super Meat Boy, but it doesn't seem like he's actually available as an unlockable character. A little bit of a disappointing thing, bearing in mind there's a lot of collaboration between these companies. You probably remember the Commander being part of Super Meat Boy. He is actually a character in that game. So, alright, let's give it a bash. Let's go from here. So, after the first couple of levels is basically just, it automatically makes you run and then you jump. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. However, they have introduced a glide mechanic on this level, as you can see, which allows you to kind of glide a little bit. And what's the point? Well, the point is to reach the end of the level and collect all the gold to get maximum points. Don't fail, and collect these little plus things, which put a bunch of colors behind you. They also improve the music by adding more layers to it, as you can see right there. I don't know what that was. There was something down there that I kind of missed. Now, you can also actually jump over the checkpoints, which will give you extra points, but if you skip the checkpoint, then obviously it's not going to benefit you if you screw up and have to restart, because you jumped on one of these guys' heads or whatever. There we go. Nice. Now, the collection of everything, bearing in mind that the game runs you at a consistent speed, is all... oh, bollocks. I should have been paying attention to that. Is all tied into the rhythm of the music. And this is a pretty big theme amongst most of the, if not all of the BIT.TRIP games, that there is some rhythm element to it, but it's not obvious. It's just kind of mixed in with the gameplay. You don't have to do specific rhythms at all, especially not in the Runner series. You can jump whenever you want, but most of the time, because they know the speed of the... what the... Alright, okay. I don't know what's what? Okay, this is unusual. So I appear to have found some kind of bonus level, which is going to involve me jumping around. It's got retro music in the background. It's all, I suppose it's 8-bit, really. That's kind of ridiculous. I love the expressions on the trees in the background. That's... Whoa! Bollocks. Well, apparently you can fail this if you run into anything. Just this side of a hill or whatever. I guess I only get 3 attempts at this. It looks like you only have 3 lives, so I better not screw it up. Well, that was a bit of a surprise. Didn't exactly expect that. But hey, there we go. I wonder if this gets you a costume or an unlockable character or something. If it's got lots of these in the game, then I definitely approve. And it's nice to be able to... No, God! I failed in the same place. I'm dreadful. I'm actually going to fail this bonus level at this rate. Right, pay attention, you jackass. Try not to suck. You're only like 4 levels in. You've already failed a number of times. This is clearly not the game for me. I mean, it is a platformer for all intents and purposes. So I guess I do have a good reason for failing. But that's not good enough. You could do better, and you should. 1, 2, come on. There we go. This is easy. No! I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said it. I'm an idiot. I should have seen that coming. This is really simple, and I'm gonna get up regardless. And apparently that actually fails the level. So there you go. God, I suck. Wow, unbelievable. Ugh. But the gameplay's fun, at least so far. It's a runner, and when BIT.TRIP Runner came out, that was kind of a unique thing. Not many games really did that. And now there's an entire bloody genre of so-called infinite runners on iOS. This is not an infinite runner. You have levels, yeah? And there are very specific objectives. I don't believe I missed that goal. That was so dumb. I'm gonna have to get obsessive and go back again now. I'm sorry, I've got to try this level again. I'm very, very curious to find out, and I want to know what's at the end of it. I'm not going to screw it up this time, I promise. No, so this is not an infinite runner, it is just a platform runner. And as you saw in the controls, there are a number of different functions that Commander Video can actually do, although the only one that I currently have unlocked is the glide ability, which makes you glide down slightly slower than it otherwise would. Oh, come on, that's BS. I jumped in time for that. Really not happy about that. Now, the levels themselves are extremely well crafted, to the point where some might even argue that they're actually a little bit too busy. Now, in games like this, you've actually not got to look at your character, you've got to look ahead of your character. That actually makes me oh, come on! That actually makes me a little bit dizzy at times, just because of the busyness of the background and the way that it's scrolling. So, I feel slightly dizzy doing that. I guess you just have to kind of get used to it. But regardless, the game is pretty enjoyable for that, and it's hard to complain about the art style because it is just so pretty. I love the fact that they have this going on, which is very much a throwback to their previous games, and... Oh seriously? Screw it. Let's just beat the level. Good lord, I'm dreadful. I don't believe that. It's pretty, I mean, all credit to it, it's pretty unforgiving, but this is not far into the game. I should be much better than this. Good lord. But yeah, you can see the graphics style going on right here. Like, they really did a number on it. They have gone to great lengths to produce something which looks absolutely wonderful and just a little bit out of the ordinary. There's some great stuff going on in the background, the overall resolution of the character, the amount of color and creativity that's being put in there, and I missed the gold. That means I will be shamed forever, and I've let my family down. Disgraceful. Let's just have a quick hop over there. I think that retro level was actually a copy of this one. Looking at it, seems like it might be. For some reason, I have way more trouble with the retro level than I had with this one, which is bizarre. I mean, you know, this really isn't too much of a problem. I guess it might just be a perception problem on my end. It's a really pretty game, especially once you collect enough of those pluses and you get extra, and then you get a little rainbow going on and the music kicks on in the background to full fidelity. It's really quite the thing, and it's satisfying too. It doesn't take long to beat a level. There's about 120 of them, as well as the unlockables and secret stuff. There are also actually 5 boss fights in here as well, so it looked like there was the ability to kick and slide and do things like that as well. But for the most part, it is kind of a score attack game. That wasn't ideal, but I'm better than Ohm Wrecker, so I guess that's all that really matters, right? I can continue to the next level, and you'll see how much gold you need to unlock everything. It's a really pretty game, and it's really well executed as well. The they know exactly what they want to do with it. There's the slide function. Okay, so it's now starting to get a little bit more complicated. They obviously knew exactly what they wanted to do with it. And as a direct result, they have created something which is... I mean, it doesn't really have problems, from what I can tell. Ignore the fact that I just slid under the gold there. It seems just phenomenal in what it's trying to do. It has a fairly simple mission statement, I suppose. And yet it executes that flawlessly, for what I can tell. It's just a joy to play. I'm not really into score attack games most of the time, but I'm having fun with this. It's satisfying. I think it's probably got something to do with the music and the way that all of the worlds are created, and it's so joyfully nonsensical, I suppose. I mean, I don't even know what's going on in the background. Why is there some kind of giant burger factory floating on the rock? Why am I avoiding turtles? I'm not sure. Why am I collecting gold? What use is that? Why can I not slow down? Why? God, seriously? I'm blaming my controller now. I'm just going to throw my controller out the window. It's like Razor Onza. Clearly, it is not working out. I should get something else, but hey. It doesn't have a complex mission statement, and as a result, it executes what it wants to do very, very well. If I were to have one criticism of it, it's that the background, seriously the same place, the backgrounds might be a little bit too busy, and as a result, slightly distracting. This is one of the problems that 2.5D games have, this notion of, oh, it's a 2D game, but we've got a 3D background. That can get a little bit confusing at times. You can get it mixed up with what's going on. It can distract you from what's going on in the foreground. That could be a problem, especially on higher difficulty levels. Depth of field could be an issue. You can turn that off. That's obviously a preference. Some people don't like depth of field. I don't think I've personally ever had a problem with it. Now, I'm going to hop it. It's my own fault. I really should just take those checkpoints, because then I could show you the rest of the level, but I'm getting all proud of my score. So, I guess that's a problem. There we go. So, you know, once you get into the rhythm of it, it's nice. And there is a rhythm. There's a very obvious rhythm that's linked into the music in an almost subconscious manner, and I think once you get in tune with it, that actually helps you with your game a lot. There we go. See? That's it. Get costume! Yes, I will. Thank you very much. And I'll slide under there and not get screwed over. Excellent. I have a new costume. And, oh yes, this is a little mini-game thing at the end. I assume this is just allow people to differentiate their scores, so let's get a bonus. That didn't work out so well, but there you go. Did I beat the other guy on my score list? I guess that's the most important thing. Didn't miss any gold. Got the costume. That's a perfect run. There we go. And that got me over 1 million points. I guess... Who's number one? Oh, god damn it. He obviously got a better shot on that little thing than I did. I'm interested to know what this costume is now. Let's have a look at it. Oh, nice. Got a little set of headphones. Very, very cute. That's about everything that I can think of that's wrong with this game. Yeah, it's too pretty. That is quite literally the complaint that I have. That it is, to some degree, too pretty and might distract you. It's just phenomenal. It's not complicated at all, but for... God, I don't believe I jumped that. But for what it's trying to do, it executes it in a flawless manner. What else could you want from it? That's the question. What else should be in it? Should you add more stuff to it? Because if you do, does that then ruin the purity of the game, as it were? That's always something to consider when you're thinking about that kind of stuff. They obviously knew what they wanted, and they've given it to us. And it seems like they've made the game that they wanted to make from the start. They've refined their formula to almost... I've got to say almost perfection. Must be. Maybe there's problems later on in the game. I'm interested to know what those other functions are. Obviously, I haven't encountered a boss fight yet. This is a first impressions video. As I've said a million bloody times, if you want detailed review content, you need to find somewhere else, not this channel. But I am having a bollocks. I should have seen that going. I'm having a blast with this game. I probably shouldn't jump the checkpoints, but I want more score than the other guy. I guess I wasn't into score attack games, but I quite like them now. BIT.TRIP Runner is just wonderful. I can't think of anything else to say about it, and I think you should strongly consider looking into it. If this kind of gameplay is something that you think you would enjoy over the course of 120 levels with gradually more difficult, more complex mechanics being introduced, then without hesitation, you should go to Steam now and get BIT.TRIP Runner 2. Because it is just awesome. And you are going to have a lot of fun with it, and you're going to really enjoy the crazy world that they've put together, and the crisp mechanics, and the really slick, responsive controls, and the wonderful world. So please, by all means, do go check out BIT.TRIP Presents Runner 2, Legend of Something Rhythm Alien, bollocks, whatever it is. It's great. It really, really is quite something. And you don't find all that many games like this every now and again. There's a lot of love that's been put into this game that's blindingly obvious. This is someone's baby, this is someone's creation that they spent a lot of time working on, and they did exactly what they wanted. It's a bullseye. There you go, folks. BIT.TRIP Presents Runner 2, currently available on Steam for $15 or your regional equivalent. My name has been TotalBiscuit, and I shall see you next time.